What describes change from one to the other?
I mean, I wouldn't use time to describe that anyway.
Give me a new concept then. What do you call it?
I mean, change that implies like movement or heating or an ing at the end. That for me is
change
is
from
change.
non-existence to existence. It's a change.
Yeah.
So
generation or creating.
What is that change that had the existence that made that change possible within that dimension?
I just didn't understand a single word of that. I mean, it didn't make sense.
You see, that's where the scientists sort of hide behind these, loaded terms. Lawrence Krauss, professor.
Just tell me your point.
Let me tell you, Professor Lawrence Krauss. He wrote a book called The Universe from Nothing. What a deceiver. He doesn't believe the universe came from nothing. He explains it in a book, it came from something. But yet, he wants to tell the people, he's blind sheep, the universe came from nothing. Yeah? So he totally disagrees and goes against the very notion of what is nothing. And that's, my nothing is something.
But he's very clear, he defines nothing.
Then it's not nothing.
No, he defines it though. He can use it however he wants. Nothing could mean a
wave of any kind, of energy, or a fluctuation. It's not nothing. It's something.
Correct.
So when he said that,
I don't know how to do it.
So when esteemed professor said this was nothing, that was a lie.
No, he defined nothing.
That's not nothing.
I can define nothing however I want and then continue.
No, you can't
nothing.
define nothing however you want.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. In science, you can do whatever you want as long as.
Basically, you have a.
Let me finish. As long as you define your terms at the start, and then you use them in a controlled way.
Yeah, that is
what
not
you can't
a
do.
definition I accept.
What you can't do.
I don't accept that definition.
That's fine. You don't have to accept it.
No. What I'm saying is that definition.
That is normal practice.
That definition is not acceptable because it doesn't describe what it's trying to say.
Not to lay people.
Okay.
Not to
this is nothing. This is nothing. Do you accept?
This
is nothing, right?
Yes, I accept if you're claiming that for your definition of nothing.
Yeah, this is nothing.
That's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
And then you can go on to...
What a joke.
Okay, we're going to give you a definition of nothing. Let's see if you agree with it.
Why is that true?
Yes.
If you
on planet Earth, who's going to say this is absolute nothing? Nothing.
You are.
Nothing.
You are for some reason that you're going to explain.
Would you accept if I said this is nothing?
I'd have absolutely no problem with that. But you'd have to explain why.
Would you accept my definition? This is nothing.
Sorry?
Would you accept my definition? This is nothing.
If you had a reason to do so, I don't mind.
Would you?
You can call it whatever you want. I don't mind. As long as you define it beforehand. It's interesting that people have a problem with that.
Wait.
You guys clearly aren't scientists.
We're going to give you a definition of nothing. Let's see if you agree to it. Wait. He's going to give you a definition of what nothing is.
Absence of everything and anything.
Okay, that's fine. I agree.
That is the definition of nothingness.
That's fine.
Anyone who says this is nothing, they don't even know what they're talking about.
Absence of everything.
They need to learn language perhaps or concepts that we describe them. Not fine. The reason why esteemed Professor Lawrence Krauss had to define nothing because he knows there's no way he can bring the universe from nothing.
No, he based it on evidence.
That's why he had to redefine nothing
No.
to make it something for the universe come from.
No. He did it because he did it because there are reasons to do it, and the reasons to do it was based on the mathematical descriptions. If you take away everything, the mathematical descriptions that we have of the universe show that with the removal of everything, you still have energy, you still have stuff. This is the interesting reason why nothing had to be defined in the way that it was. He did it for a reason.
Was that nothing something?
And the reason is called science.
That energy, was it something or nothing?
It's something.
Okay.
So you're just proving your argument.
My friend,
our argument.
There's no point talking anymore. There's no point talking anymore.
You're not a scientist. Are you a
My
scientist?
friend,
Are you a scientist?
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
it's simple as this. If you have nothing, you will always have nothing.
Yeah.
So therefore you have to have something, as you said before.
But what if I tell you
something?
But what if you're saying that nothing is the absence of everything?
Nothing can.
Okay.
The universe came from nothing, that's the energy, and that's something.
No, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Look, you're saying that nothing. What is nothing? The absence of everything.
Yes.
If I take away everything from a block of space, you're left with energy.
That's not nothing.
That's the paradox.
That's not nothing.
That's why this is interesting.
That is not nothing.
Exactly. I agree.
So you haven't defined nothing then? That's something
No,
still.
you have to define...
A vacuum is something.
So you need to retract
I
your
can't break
statement
it down
and
anymore.
No, it's
say
not breaking
something
down.
can come out
You
of
need
something.
to be
Not
what we
nothing.
call scientists, atheist scientists, need to have some more of integrity.
Complex stuff. We're not selling tomatoes on the side of the street. This is the physics of the origin of the universe, okay? So if you stumble on simple definitions like this...
That's a simple definition.
You need to be honest.
People who define nothing when this is something, they need to really wake up. All I can say is, just because, look, Allah says in the Quran, those who fear Allah most are the ulama. A real scholar, a real researcher, a real alim knows God and fears God's punishment for disbelieving. Anyone who says I'm a scholar and says nothing is something is no scholar to me.
Fine. Can I ask you a question? Let's imagine that the universe has come from something, and then we fast forward 13.8 billion years to the present day, or minus 1400 years. If I grant you all of that, why is it that you believe in what's written down in the Quran?
It's a very good question.
It's
a very good question.
And the point I'm making is that even if you had that, it still doesn't tell you anything about Muhammad or what happened in the Middle East 1400 years ago.
Quran talks about Prophet
But let's
Muhammad.
grant that, for the purpose of the conversation, let's grant
Quran talks about Prophet Muhammad. Quran talks about a lot of things in his locality and his time. The Quran has some falsification tests.
Okay.
Sounds like science, right?
It is. Very much
Falsification test. If the Quran had been from any other than God, the Quran says...
Give me the tests.
That's what I'm giving them.
Oh, good.
Okay? One of the tests, the Quran says, you should be able to bring in its composition a book like it, 114 chapters, surahs, or 10 chapters like it, or just a single chapter like it.
Okay, so
a single chapter of the Quran is about this big.
So have people not done that? People have used a computer program to generate random words. And after a small...
4 lines.
People have done this experiment where a computer loaded in with ancient Arabic, they've created a program that randomly swaps words around. And it just, with thousands of cores, it does it for weeks and weeks and weeks, but it will recreate chapters of the Quran. So that
given enough time, you can turn into a cauliflower.
Okay.
I have no evidence, but I have this faith, this belief.
Do you understand what I've just said?
I did.
You said bring a chapter like it, and that's a process of how I can bring a chapter like it.
I didn't say you can bring. Bring it.
Okay. Well,
where?
I could just give you the output of that computer.
Go on, give it to me.
No, I don't have it. I didn't do the experiment.
Who's done it?
I'm saying that it has been done, and I could possibly. I could give you a hard drive. It would fit on the memory of my phone.
Who's done a chapter like unto the Quran, and then
this computer program? It did it exactly, exactly.
So a computer, brother, one second, don't worry about it. A computer program has imitated a Quran chapter, right?
Yeah.
Where is this? I can have a look at it.
No, I don't have it. I don't have it on me.
Where can I find it?
You search the internet and
No, I'm not going to search blindly. You're the one making click A.
Okay, I don't have it.
Okay.
You can choose not to believe me if you like. I invite you to Google it when you get home.
There was this, I'm not going to Google it. This is not how you do research.
It's exactly how you do research. You make a claim, I say...
Not your research. When I did my MSc...
You make a claim.
When I did my MSc...
You make a claim.
When I did my MSc, if I did Google research, my supervisors will say, get a life. Know how to do research, right?
That's
I
weird.
did spend 3 months doing my research, you know what, forget my MSc, right? What I'm saying is this. People make claims about computer programs. They make how computer programs can generate sentences and so on and so forth. I've looked at those studies before. They did not produce anything. They only produced random letters, and then from these letters they thought it would produce something like this.
What's the next claim? Because we've dealt with this. You're choosing not to believe me.
Wait, I'm not believing you at all or anything.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not making any judgment call. I'm simply saying the Quran is unlike anything in the Arabic language. Okay. It has its own composition.
Right.
Own composition, the way it is structured.
Fine.
The eloquence that comes from it is from its own structure.
This is too subjective. This cannot be. This is unfalsifiable. This is not falsifiable.
This is where you need to understand the challenge first. Yeah. The Quranic challenge is highly, absolutely objective. It actually gives you the structure of the Quran. Quran doesn't say bring anything. says bring like it.
So how would you test that?
I'm giving you, if you allow me to test. The Quran gives you the falsification test to be something like the Quran. So the Quran is in Arabic language, so it has to be in Arabic, not in English. Number one. Secondly, it has to be like the structure of the Quran. The structure of the Quran is not like any prose or poetry.
Okay, yep.
It has its own genre.
And how is like defined there?
The Quran does not fit into any known forms of Arabic literature. It has its own composition. For example, when the Quran says, لا أقسم بهذا البلد, لا أقسم ب something, right? This is a stylistic form, a particular pattern of construct. So the Quran has constructions, Quran has patterns and forms throughout the Quran in its chapters.
How do you falsify this?
Falsification is using the Quranic construction, bringing something within the Arabic language and say, there we go, we've imitated the construction, the patterns of the Quran, and it is eloquent.
And how do you falsify that? You've described.
I just told you.
You haven't.
You have to bring something. If you bring something like it, and you examine it. Remember, you have to be.
Right.
You have to be.
Okay, hold on a second. This is important. Right. So you said bring something like it. And imagine this is a small book also. Okay. And I say here you go. This is my small book. I feel like it's like the Quran. What would you do with this book? Would you analyze it mathematically? Would you get imams or?
No, you analyze the language itself.
Yeah, and what would the test be?
I just told you. You look at the Quranic construction.
Yeah.
There are patterns and constructions, right? Stylistics. And you look at the stylistics that this is imitating.
Yeah.
So, for example, the same stylistic patterns have to be imitated using other words or phrases or nouns. Or
that sounds really easy.
Wait, it's not easy. It sounds very easy, right? Isn't it? Why was it then people failed to do it?
But how did they say that you failed? On what grounds did they say?
It's not about,
thanks for your book. Who's making?
For example, today we have someone who came here.
Are you getting?
No.
Are you getting an atheist Muslim ancient Arabic scholar?
No. Get professors of Arabic language, whether they're atheists or otherwise, and then say, okay, now, here we go.
That they were not atheists.
Are you saying there are no atheists who speaks Arabic?
That's not what I'm saying.
Okay, I am saying to judge. To judge.
That's quite rude.
No, but she's rude interjecting. I'm just showing her the point. That is rude.
We want to hear both of
what I'm saying.
Thank you.
You can get experts in. Brother, why are you
having a lovely discussion? He doesn't need your support.
Brother, why did you get involved? Why? We want to. In fact. Okay. So what we were saying is this: you can get scholars of Arabic language, not necessarily Muslims, to sit down and look at a piece. And look at how you have imitated the Quranic language.
How is that objective?
I just told you, constructions.
What's the next one? What's the next test?
I'm not going to let you go like that. When I say...
I agree with you.
Oh, no. Wait. No.
Yeah, I don't...
The Quran, if that was so easy, there are millions of Arab Christians. Even to this day. Why are they unable, incapacitated to bring something like it?
Because the person who's judging it is not going to be unbiased. They're going to be heavily biased. And they will say, I'm sorry, thank you, whoever.
This is something that you need to research yourself.
Insert Christian name.
Look.
But I deny this.
This is something.
Not like the Quran.
This is something that you need to research.
Unless you give me some objective mark sheet or...
I just told you.
But
the Quranic constructs are unique.
But I can write...
This is a particular construct.
Let's move on.
No, my friend.
We're not going to get anywhere.
No, my friend, you need to understand the challenge.
Okay.
No.
Let's agree to disagree on this one.
Sorry, you need to understand the challenge. Quran has its own constructive stylistics.
You have to say something new, or we should move on.
I just told you.
But you said that before.
Have you heard of sonnet of Shakespeare?
Yes.
If someone were to imitate the sonnets of Shakespeare,
And they did. Shakespeare was probably multiple people. But go ahead.
what do they have to do?
No, it actually happened. Shakespeare, what we call Shakespeare, is actually multiple authors because there was an imitation that went
Good.
on. Okay.
Did it happen?
Yes.
Excellent. We can imitate Shakespeare. Why are we not able to imitate the Quran?
I would be at risk of repeating myself. I think we should move on unless you've got something else to
You
say.
see, this is the primary challenge of the Quran, and you want to just brush it aside.
Is that the best one? Is that the primary
challenge?
Okay. What's the secondary? Tell
My
me.
friend, what's the secondary?
Please,
if
teach-
I give you,
teach
if
me.
I
I
give
want
you,
to
look,
know.
I'm going to ask you, go and research, get some Arabic professors who are not Muslims, pay them $1 million, £1 million. Say, produce something like it.
I'd love to know what the other ones are. I understand this one.
I'm sorry.
I've understood the
I am
challenge.
sorry you don't understand the challenge. I am saying the Quran says very clearly, no one can match it.
You have to say something new, or we should move on.
I just told you.
That's not new. You said that at the start.
Right. So my question to you, why did everyone fail to bring something like it?
Yeah, I've already given you my answer.
What's the answer you've given?
I refuse to repeat myself.
What is the answer? One last time. Who's done it?
I see no way, and this is the last time I'm saying this by the way, I see no way that test can be falsified because if someone comes to me as the assessor of what's like the Quran or not and gives me a book, I don't know how that could be objective. I feel that person will always be very, very biased. They are likely to be quite high up or quite influential. They're likely to be quite high up or influential within the Muslim world.
Why are you so inconsistent?
And the idea of them saying, oh wait, guys, I've actually found an example. Oh, this is all wrong. Let's all just forget this whole Muslim stuff. That's obviously not going to happen.
Have you forgotten your example of Shakespeare?
What?
Did they objectively match it?
I don't know what you mean.
You said Shakespeare was imitated. Did they objectively imitate Shakespeare?
There was no test. No one tested for it.
So when you said Shakespeare was imitated, was that objectively done or subjectively?
It was done based on historical evidence that showed actually there are multiple authors.
Excuse me. The imitation of Shakespeare by several authors.
The writing is different.
Is this objectively matched or subjectively?
The writings are different. People can say this is the style of this person. This is the style of that person.
Is it objective measurement or subjective measurement?
100% subjective.
So they did not match it?
I don't know what that means. It's subjective.
You claimed early on they matched it.
No, I didn't say that.
Did you not say they matched it?
Yeah.
You are very inconsistent, my friend. When it comes to Shakespeare, yes, they matched it. And I agreed with you. Yes, I even said excellent.
I didn't say they matched it, okay? So there's like
Did they imitate it?
There's like three, yes.
Did they imitate it?
There was an imitation.
Right.
Correct.
So they imitated it. Why are we able to imitate Shakespeare?
Right. I'm losing the energy. It happened in a different way. What you're describing is some kind of test, where I come to you with a book and I say, I think this is like the Quran, and then you apply a test to it, and you say yes or no. Okay? That did not happen with Shakespeare. What happened? In fact, what happened with Shakespeare is that evidence came to light way after Shakespeare died,
and
that showed that actually.
How do you know it's like Shakespeare?
No, it was attributed to him as one body.
How do we know parts of it is like Shakespeare when he didn't author them?
It was written in Middle English. I mean, it sounds like Shakespeare. It had good stories.
Sounds like Shakespeare, and what else?
I've read one book of Shakespeare and I hate it every second of it. I can't give you more detail than that, and I don't need to give you more detail.
So those people who say it's like Shakespeare because it's like Shakespeare's writing, so the structure, if it's a sonnet, it has a specific form. You know that very well.
Well, a sonnet is objective. That has an actual definition. It's like a haiku.
Thank you.
You can't make up, but you don't have that. This with the Quran.
That's what I'm saying. The Quran is objective.
No, but the test won't be objective. There isn't. You can't say it has to be 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables.
The Quran has its own form, and that form becomes part of your objective measurement. I give you an example.
What's the second?
La uqsimu bi. So this is a particular construct. I give you another example. لا تزر وازرة وزر أخرى. A second particular pattern. Objective patterns and constructs.
Yeah.
So you cannot then say
that can be generated by a computer within a very small number of hours. So there's nothing miraculous about putting words next to each other.
My friend, it's easy to make claims.
No, that actually happened. That's not just a claim. That happened.
Okay. I have been coming in this park for a long time, and this is not the first time I heard of computer intelligence, artificial
And
intelligence.
you still haven't Googled it. Shame on you.
Listen,
If you were looking for the truth,
I did look at the research,
you would take that very
and
seriously.
you would know very well they did not produce any work whatsoever.
Yeah, that's not true.
Certain words and phrases, and that's where they left it. Now you tell me right now, Google it. I'll give you 1 hour right now. Google it, tell me which piece of literature has the computer program has done it.
I don't mind it being false anyway.
Excuse me, no.
It's still
1 hour I will remain silent. Google it now, Google it on my phone.
So within
if
this,
you're interested, if you want to save your
within this
internet
hour,
data. No, one moment. Google it and tell me a piece of literature that has been made by computer programming. Go on.
I'd really rather not, because whether I find it or
No,
not.
you made a claim. Go on, do it now. We're going to be up.
Yeah.
We'll be proven
You said it's possible.
mistaken.
You didn't say it had.
Go ahead.
It doesn't even have to
No,
be
you
true.
said it's done. Doable. Do it.
He said it actually been done.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, it has been done.
Go on then. Show it. Where? Google it. I want the exact piece of literature that it has done. From the very... Yeah, take your time. Thank you. From the very beginning.
While I'm doing this, can you please tell me the next test of the Quran?
This is important to understand this test. Why go into the next test? And then you're going to say, oh, let's go into the second one. and the third one.
To teach me. I've never heard this before.
Please.
Is this
So from scratch...
Are you not in the park
From
to
the
tell
very
people
beginning
what-
of the test, all they had was just random letters. And then they came together without any human interventions, and they generate a literature, a piece.
So you're going to type in computer-generated book?
computer? Well, we knew it's possible to generate a book.
Go ahead.
Do computer-generated book, and if you come up with a title, then
We know that Shakespeare is another example. If
not that
a
it
computer,
proves anything because there weren't computers at the time. So
We want artificial, non-human intelligence by looking at words, randomly gathering words and selecting together, producing a beautiful, meaningful literature in English, for example. Not just one phrase, we want a whole
the criteria, we want a trilogy like Lord of the Rings or something like that.
what are the other? While I'm doing this, what are the other falsifiable tests?
Go ahead, please.
Can you tell me what the other tests are?
Take your time.
You're having a
Take your
discussion
time.
with
Take your time.
Stick on the topic.
Criteria. One was beautiful, another was
I didn't say
eloquent.
I said structure.
beautiful there.
No, I said here.
Show me something that's
No,
beautiful. Maybe you didn't mean it.
I said anything that you bring has to be meaningful. Okay?
You said beautiful and meaningful.
I did say meaningful, but when I say beautiful,
I'm gonna hold you to
no.
it.
I mean meaningful. That would not
And that's a subjective test, meaning.
Well, that's why I asked.
No, if it says,
That's why I asked.
if it's going to bring a piece of literature and it says something that's gibberish, that's not meaningful.
I agree.
It has to make
Coherent.
sense.
Coherent
I can't find
might
it.
be a better.
Why not? You should be able to Google it, he said. Come on.
I should
Take your
be.
time.
I can't find
Take
it.
more time.
I don't mind retracting statement. It needn't be true nor false.
You said this is a deep conviction that you had. Prove yourself that it actually happened.
I mean, people can be wrong. I've either made a mistake,
No problem.
or I just can't find
No
it on my phone
Take more time.
under pressure.
Maybe you could find it on my phone.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
You know,
let's try that.
School, Parkfield
Okay,
School.
he
You
retracted
know what's
his
happening with the LGBT?
I think he said
Are you aware of it?
I don't know, but
Would you be willing to join the cause because they're laymen, there are no scholars helping them? I'm going to go up, and I think Sikhs, everyone should man the barricades there, but unfortunately there are not the best representatives there.
well,
Because
then I think the government has made some legislations where this LGBTQ, X, Y, and Z, whatever, continue to grow.
yeah.
By legislation, it's going to move on. Whether you like it or not, because they are now have a very powerful lobby.
sure.
And that lobby is making legislation, and legislation is making a change. You can talk about it, you can protest about it, but it will do very little. So I'm being pessimistic on this.
I know, but I'm looking at the results of the parents taking the action, taking their children out of school. They actually withdrew that curriculum. They were terrified that this would spread through all the Islamic schools in Birmingham. Yeah, but what they've done, they've forestalled it. And I think if the strategies of the Muslims and the Christians could get together, the minimum victory we could hope was that in primary schools, on the basis of religious liberty, they allowed parents the right to withdraw their children for those lessons. That would be a huge
The
victory.
government has somehow, given to the parents' demands, then I would agree with you. There needs to be more protest.
For sure, yeah.
I'm just going to say. I have to leave. I was going to say one more thing. I know.
The other test
I know-
you were asking for very quickly.
Anyway, I'll see you folks.
Bye bye.
Thank you. The other test saying, had this book been from any other than God, then they will surely find therein many discrepancies. A book which talks about, in a period of 23 years, history, economy, sociology,
I've heard about this one.
archaeology.
So tell me.
So, you can go? Okay, someone can.
So tell me about the fact that the Quran says multiple things about the origin of man, I think. So it says clay, water, nothing, blood, something like that. So even without knowing any science, they can't all be true, and therefore at least one of them is
they can all
false,
be
and
true.
therefore there is at least one false
They can all be
statement.
true. Let me tell
There's
you.
at least one false statement in the
Had
Quran.
all of them are true. I'll tell you how.
Clay, man comes from
At
clay.
one point, man had no existence, physical existence. True? Man came from no physical existence. Then the man was created.
But how
The
did they come
first
from
man,
clay?
the first man,
They don't come from clay.
It's going to take you the
the
very
first man, Adam, was created from clay, from mud.
All right, we know that's not true. We know evolution is true.
No, you don't know evolution is true. Evolution is
Do
just.
you not believe in evolution?
Listen, evolution is just a working model of our natural world. There are many other models. This is just one of them.
In science, of the development of man. There are no other models.
How many models of evolution that you are familiar with?
Models of evolution. What do you mean by a model of evolution? Evolution is a theory. There are no. There are multiple mechanisms that form.
Yes.
Yeah.
So these kind of things, were people witnesses to the creation of the first man?
Sorry, what?
Were we witnesses to the creation of the first man?
No.
Right. So all we are doing is what? Guesswork.
Science.
Guesswork.
Science.
Yes, guesswork.
Science.
So the Quran gives us how the first man was created. This is the information it's given. You, by your guesswork, in saying that it wasn't the case.
I don't know why you call it guesswork. It's science.
Were you there? Were we there?
No.
So all we're doing is a guesswork, isn't it?
No, it's science.
Okay, what is a guesswork?
It's your word. It's your word. I'm not
What
using
is a guesswork? Guess.
picking random.
Were we there? Have we witnessed it?
Any observable evidence.
Did we
Have you been in
observe?
space? Your phone won't work without a satellite in space. You don't see the satellite, but it
Brother,
works.
Did we observe the creation of the first man?
No.
Right. So what is it then? Speculation and guesswork.
No, science. I don't know what. You can keep asking the
see,
question.
look.
My answer will always be the same.
Your answer is clearly speculative guesses. You weren't there. When a murder happens, when there's no evidence, and you say, he did it, she did it, it's just what?
Right.
is
Anyway, we've got a problem because if you don't believe in evolution, we don't even speak the same language, so we can't really continue.
Hang on.
So
Hang on.
let's move on to the next one.
The fact that you believe in evolution, it tells you it's your belief. Based on what? Guesswork and working model.
Yeah, so fine.
Are there scientists who don't believe in evolution?
They're mad.
They're mad.
They're literally mad.
So now, they're not scientists, they're mad.
No, I admit it.
That really shows you how dogmatic you can be.
I didn't say they're not scientists. A scientist is someone who applies the scientific method.
So basically, a
They
scientist...
can still be mad.
A scientist... So they are mad scientists because they don't believe in evolution.
I would call someone mad if they don't believe in evolution.
Yeah,
With
so
the
now
amount
that's what
with
you're...
the amount of information we have available to us and the predictions that our models of evolution make, to say that it's not true, I would call that mad.
Is it possible? Is it possible for matter to become alive?
Yes.
Now?
Yes.
Which lab?
Sorry, what do you
Forget
mean?
the conditions in the 1900s where we thought about the primordial soup, where there was this electric thing and whatever, we produce amino acids. Well, before that we produce all these chemicals and then produce amino acids, and then from these amino acids we make peptides, polypeptides, and they never made proteins. I'm asking you, my friend, in which lab today with our very strict
So you said
conditions,
you said something false there.
excuse me,
You said
that
something
we
false.
can produce live or living thing from matter? Which lab?
There is no lab in the world that has ever done that.
Why not?
Because it is so incredibly complex, and it's only happened once on this Earth.
Miracle happened.
And once in this universe,
A
as
miracle
far
happened.
as
So
we
you
can
believe
see.
in a miracle?
No, I don't believe in a miracle.
That's what you meant? It's so incredible. This once in a lifetime event happened.
Being rare is not a miracle.
Hang on. This is another way of saying, you know what? I know it's a miracle, but I'm going to call it differently. It's a rare, one-time, lifetime event.
Yeah.
Listen, my friend.
Winning the lottery is not a miracle.
Why is it we are unable to produce a living cell in our laboratories today? It's because it's complex.
Cell? No. You've jumped like 7 million miles that way.
Life?
Okay.
What is life?
If it was to happen in a lab, it would be something like
What is life?
It would be something that's very simple, like a virus.
Excuse me. What is life?
A life has got 7 components, and you have to fulfill all of them. So the ability to
life has 7 components.
to reproduce, to self-heal, or I can't remember. It's not important.
It is important.
Why?
Because if you claim that happened by Mother Nature, the God that scientists believe in, Mother Nature, one-time miracle event, it can happen again, right? By chance.
It can, yes.
So why are we not able to do it by conditional laboratory experimentation today?
Because of the extreme complexity of that process. We cannot do that. But there are so many much more humble things that we cannot do.
Hang on.
You were saying
Chance itself.
Let's create a cell.
Look, chance, my friend. Chance, no brains, no neurons.
We can't even cure
no
some
synapses.
cancers. We can't cure cancer, and yet you're saying we're going to create life.
What you're saying is there was no neuron and neuronal synapses involved, but it created the first cell. We have all the neurons together in the whole world. Brilliant scientists, and we can't do it.
Correct. We have evolved to throw javelins at.
You know what? You don't need
a deer
brain to make the first living cell.
We haven't evolved to be smart. We haven't evolved to be scientists. We've evolved to kill animals and pick berries. Okay, so it's not a surprise that we find these things unbelievably challenging.
No, but what's fantastic in your belief is this: matter can become alive by no intelligence, no governing agents, no directing agents.
Yes.
But while we have governing agents, human agents with will, power, intelligence, synapses in the neurons gathered together, we cannot produce something like it.
Correct.
But something which doesn't even exist, Mother Nature did it.
Correct. I can't lift the Mount Everest
is nonsense.
to 1,400 meters, 8
That is a fairy
kilometers
tale.
above.
That's the fairy tale you believe in. The scientist fairy tale, that's what you believe in. That's your blind faith.
Shouting the loudest doesn't win the argument.
Sorry,
Because nature did it doesn't mean we can do it, okay?
What is nature? Does it have a brain?
No, because it has happened in
How
nature.
did it do it?
Because it's happened in nature does not mean...
No, how did it do it without a brain?
Did what, sorry?
How did nature, without a brain, without self-awareness, without consciousness, make matter into life?
I have not a fucking clue how life started. I have no idea how life
But you
began.
believe in that fairy tale?
No,
It's a fairy tale, I'm telling you. Is it other than a fairy tale?
You're doing this thing where you're shouting over
Sorry,
me.
is it other than a fairy
That
tale?
doesn't make your point
No,
any more or
Is
less valid.
Is this other than a fairy tale?
What's a fairy tale?
That matter became alive. It's a fairy tale.
No, a fairy tale is known to be false.
That is a false fairy tale.
It's a work of fiction. No,
That's a fiction.
Yeah, you're saying that.
I'm not saying it, I'm telling you that.
I don't believe you.
You believe in it because when there's no God required, you will believe in this total, ridiculous fairy tales.
I don't see it as ridiculous. I see it as Occam's razor. I don't need to pose the idea of God did it. We know that on meteorites, proteins form spontaneously.